Okay, legends, it's Tuesday. How are you all today? Good stuff. Are you ready for your daily Celtic roundup? And only serious stuff today, I promise. Okay, we will get on to all your news and all that kind of stuff. Before then, though, I do have a wee bit of to be honest, it's a big announcement about the future of the channel. And I'm a little bit nervous about telling you this because I don't know quite how it will be taken. Basically, as you'll know, there's a huge Japanese influence at Celtic these days, and there has been for a number of years, none more so than at the moment where we still have Daizen Maeda doing his thing, Reo Hatate there as well. And the interest in Celtic in the land of the rising sun is pretty immense. So much so, now I'm seeing it on the channel here, so much so that this channel actually gets more views from Japan than any other country on the planet, which is quite crazy, but shows the opportunity there. So basically, everyone, I've sold out, and from tomorrow, basically this channel will no longer be in English, it will be in Japanese. AI, and we discussed AI a bit last week, but AI advancements basically mean now that it's possible for what I'm saying right now to be translated into Japanese, and that's going to be the case from tomorrow's video onwards. So it's still going to look like me on the channel, it's still going to look like Stevie and the rest of the squad, but rather than English coming out of our mouths, it will be Japanese.
いいと、ここで不動をかぶっていて、またしてもエミレツに日が戻っています。3月末の天気なのに、この大割らない降りから逃れられないようです。ひどく降って寒くて風が強かったです。そしてもう天気の話はやめます。
And this is in order to appeal to the Japanese fan base, which is more substantial than even all of you English speakers. So yeah, from tomorrow, the channel's going to be in Japanese. Crazy. And that's definitely happening. Best just make the most of what we've got today then, as I speak in English for the final time. Right, what is happening today? There's a few things we can discuss. I do just want to mention something that I spoke about a fortnight or so ago, and it concerns our Scottish Cup semi-final against St Johnstone on Sunday the 20th of April. Now, I did mention when I spoke about this that they're basically making a bit of a change here at Hampden, and every ticket for our semi-final and also the Aberdeen Hearts semi will be digital only. So to get to the game and get into the game, you'll have to have a smartphone with the Hampden Park app, and your ticket will be on that. I think basically the email address that you sign up to the app with has to be the same email address that the Celtic ticket office have for you. And with some sort of technological magic, your ticket is available. I think 7 days before the match, the QR code comes on the app on the morning of the game. Nothing can go wrong there, I'm sure. Anyway, as you would imagine, this has caused a fair bit of frustration amongst the Celtic supporters. I think the other supporters as well who are in the Scottish Cup, so Rangers fans are fine with this. We dig there. Couldn't resist. I think it's fair enough as well, people pointing out that maybe older fans or kids who don't have access to a smartphone will suffer difficulties here getting into the game. And this was added to, I think, by the fact that initially Celtic said that tickets on the app wouldn't be transferable, which to me seems like a pretty bad move. And they've obviously realised this because in the past day or so, the club have kind of reviewed that stance, and they now say that tickets can be transferred on up to 2 occasions. So that at least sounds like it should make things easier. There's obviously a number of people who that would affect. As I say, older people who wouldn't necessarily have a smartphone, or kids who don't have phones at all, or people who buy through supporters' buses and various other things, I think can be helped by ticket transferring now being an option. I think just generally speaking, digital tickets are a positive move forward. I do believe that. However, I do think there should always be an option for people to have a paper ticket if they want it. I wasn't massively around when the big change from cash to chip and pin went in, but I'm assuming they didn't do away with cash completely at that stage. So I don't know if it's a great move from the SFA and Hampden Park to go digital only with not much of a consultation or kind of lead into this. But anyway, that's where we're at. At least you're going to be able to transfer tickets. It should mean that the Celtic support is packed in at Hampden Park, and there's probably going to be 40,000 or maybe even more Celtic fans at that game. So that's all positive. We are into April now, as you may have worked out earlier on in this video. So let's just take a wee look at what we've got to come this month. We're looking at 4 matches for Celtic, but a fair amount can be decided. So we face St Johnstone this Sunday. It's the league game. Remember, we're going to have 3 stands of McDiarmid Park open to Celtic fans. So it's going to feel like a home game for us. And that's because it could have been a title clincher for us a number of weeks ago had we not turned up in the derby. That's no longer the case. We can't win the league this Sunday at McDiarmid Park under any circumstances. So if you've looked out the balloons and the champagne and all of that kind of stuff, hold fire for a week or two. We then have Killie at home the following Saturday, so a week on Saturday. The only way that this could be a title clincher for us is if we do the business this Sunday against St Johnstone and Rangers lose at home to Hibs the previous day. If both of those things happen, so Celtic win this weekend, Rangers lose this weekend, and I know what you're thinking, maybe unlikely Rangers lose at home. They have lost their last 4 at Ibrox, so you never know, Hibs are a decent side. If those 2 things happen, then we could clinch the league next Saturday at home to Kilmarnock. So that's the only way that can be done next weekend. If that doesn't happen and Rangers avoid defeat this weekend against Hibs, then it will roll onto the first game after the split, which we obviously don't know what that is, whether it's at home, whether it's away. A fair chance that it's away from home, I think, because we're only getting 2 of the 5 post-split matches at Celtic Park, and one of them would be Trophy Day right at the end. So there's a 1 in 4 chance of it being at Celtic Park, but you never know, it could happen. But that's the most likely scenario, that we wait until the end of the month to clinch the league. Before then, though, we do have the Scottish Cup semi-final against St Johnstone, so 2 meetings with St Johnstone this month. And yeah, plenty to be won this month. The league is probably going to be clinched in April, and we can certainly book our place in the Scottish Cup final as well. So yeah, hopefully Celtic are just starting to motor again, as Callum McGregor would say, and really have a stylish April and land the league and get to the cup final. Right, other news, if you happen to care about this thing, Watergate, I believe it's been called. That just a genius name. Don't know how they came up with that. Rangers player Vaclav Cerny will face no police action for spraying water at the Celtic support at the end of the recent derby. The authorities have ended their investigation, that took them a while, and confirmed that no criminality had taken place. I'd love to know what goes into these investigations, how much you have to go on, whether it's like speaking to witnesses and that kind of thing, how far they take this stuff. Anyway, the SFA could still get involved here. I believe they are looking at the incident. Elsewhere, let's talk a little bit about Daizen Maeda, because nobody's doing that at the moment. He scored his 29th and 30th goals of the season at the weekend. He's on fire. It's a really impressive tally, I think, to get to 30 goals, especially when, I think I counted this earlier, I think 19 of the 30 have come when he's been playing at left wing, which I think just adds real credibility to what is already a great achievement. Anyway, I took a wee look earlier at the past 25 years, and it turns out that Daizen this season is it's going to be worded horrendously, Daizen this season is the 12th campaign where a Celtic player has hit the 30 goal mark in all competitions this century. Just take a look at my graphic and this will make a little bit more sense. And I should say special shout outs to Odsonne Edouard and Chris Sutton, who just missed out in this list. They got, I think, like 28, 29 goals in seasons. But yeah, for those of you listening on the podcast, which you should all definitely check out, Henrik Larsson is pretty good, and it's shown by this because he has the top 3 goal scoring seasons this century. 53 goals he managed in a year in 2001 I wasn't around following Celtic intently at that stage, but pretty sure was it the 50th goal of that season was the one when he went round the goalkeeper at Ibrox and slid it in from a tight angle. And I think Sean Maloney was at the back post ready to tap it in if he hadn't managed that. Henrik Larsson has second and third and fifth on this list. He also managed 44 goals, 41 and 35. Lee Griffiths managed 40 goals in 2015-2016. Under that, we have Kyogo a couple of years ago who managed 34. Chris Commons got 32. He did that not as an out-and-out striker, of course. I remember that season he got all the awards and I was screaming that it should have been Virgil van Dijk, who was immense. But looking back, I never massively liked Chris Commons. I know I'm going a bit off topic here, but you can't argue with 32 goals a season, but I always just felt Van Dijk was harshly treated that season. But maybe as you kind of grow up and you realise a bit more that goals are just so important, because I didn't realise that as a 17-year-old or whatever I was at that stage, you do realise that 32 goals from midfield is a pretty cool season. So maybe Chris Commons did deserve everything that year. But yeah, 32 goals he managed. That's the same number Moussa Dembele got in the Invincible season. Scott McDonald got 31 in 07-08. Gary Hooper, 31 in 12-13. John Hartson got 30, his top season in 04-05. And of course, we then have Daizen this season, who is on 30 goals and counting, and potentially 9 more games to add to that. So how high could Daizen go on that list? You certainly think that he's going to hit 35. Pretty sure he is, if he avoids any sort of injury. He can probably hit 35 over the next few games. Could he hit 40 goals? I mentioned yesterday that this calendar year, he's averaging a goal a game. So if he's got, 9 more games left, then that would take him to 39. Would you back against him getting an extra one to get to 40? If he managed 40 goals, that would be incredible. But you really are talking the best Celtic goal scoring seasons of the century here. And we're just very fortunate to have Daizen. So yeah, that's where we're at now, everyone. Things tend to be relatively quiet during the week with Celtic these days. I'm looking at different things I can do with the channel, different people I can speak to, just to keep things fresh for you. So if you're getting a little bit fed up of just me talking, don't worry, things will be changing a little bit. And I've got some plans, so that's all well and good. But for now, I will just head off and let you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Goodbye, I will say. Or should it be sayonara?